Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project.
Hello.
I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
We're in order. I was thinking Norm would go second.
That's fine. We're good.
It's been a little while.
There've been vacations.
There have been vacations, and we are now in our fourth. You guys are in your sixth day of Comic-Con. You drove out on Monday.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
So Comic-Con has a time.
Look at the look on your face. It's like 1,000
There's a
years.
time distortion
Yeah.
effect at these
Yeah.
events because you're having so much fun. There's so much going on,
And it's so dense.
but it also feels like it's going too fast.
It goes so fast. I mean, I tell people, oh, I'm working 16 hours a day, or if not more, when I'm at Comic-Con, but that doesn't really communicate what's going on.
No.
Because it's like it's not like I'm digging ditches for 16 hours. It's just like one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing, and then you want to get in some of your own personal time there.
Oh, yeah. I think this is a little sweatier than digging ditches. It is real sweaty out here.
It is real sweaty. And luckily this year, as opposed to previous years, the weather is really, really low key. Like it's in the 70s outside right now,
it's
and that
really
is
nice.
a merciful relief.
And no sun.
You
It's
can still get
overcast.
sunburn.
Yeah,
You can still absolutely get sunburned.
a couple of years ago, I remember it was like 90, and like getting out of the convention hall in a costume and walking down the street, you were just like a baked potato by the time you got back to the room.
Yeah, one year I stayed in the Hyatt, and it's about a 3/4 of a mile walk. And if you didn't have sunscreen on, you could die. You could catch on fire on the side of the road as you were walking. It was real bad.
This has been a particularly excellent Comic-Con.
It's been really good. It's been a lot of fun.
Let's talk about some highlights.
So yeah, but we got here on, I guess, Tuesday. Tuesday night. We did some cool stuff on the road on the way down. We'll talk about that later. We're saving that.
Yeah.
You'll see it in 2 weeks. or next week even, because we're going to put this up next.
Yep.
It doesn't
We're coming
matter.
to you
You'll
from
see
the
it.
past, talking about the future. And then we went to Woodstock on Wednesday night, as is the
Thursday
tradition.
night.
Wow, that was Thursday?
Yeah.
See, your time distortion.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we went to Woodstock on a night,
On a night.
Yeah.
Known as Thursday.
known as Thursday.
It's Thursday.
I never got the hang of Thursdays, and it was absolutely bananas. George R. Martin and Neil Gaiman were there.
That is
Just
one of the great openings we've ever done at Woodstock. So we had Paul and Storm have a song they wrote that begs George R. R. Martin to write like the wind because he's getting old and the books aren't done, and J.R.R. Tolkien took a lot less time to write all of his books, etc. And in the middle of their song, George R. R. Martin came out, smashed Storm's guitar, menaced them, and then Neil Gaiman came out and made Paul and Storm admit that George was not their bitch.
and admonished them like
Yes.
like a British school teacher.
I can't hear you.
So Joey pointed out that he had never seen anyone smash a guitar like George R. R. Martin smashed that guitar in the least rock and roll way
Yes!
you could ever smash a guitar.
I
Threw it
loved
down
that.
and then stepped on it.
I was
Right.
totally blown away because I mean,
it never even occurred to me.
yes. Here's the thing: we also opened last year with a guitar smash, in which I walked out on against Black and started playing "I Gave My Love a Cherry."
Yes.
That, and Jamie came out and smashed the guitar. We wanted John Landis, but he was out of town.
Okay. So I guess next year's Guitar Smash is going to be. Well, we'll get to it next year.
Exactly. So it was such a strong opening that it actually felt like it almost took some real time to recover from it. Like we could have just wrapped it and said thank you. And
Everyone was
good
too
night.
busy tweeting about it.
That was crazy.
There were some really strong acts. Garfunkel and Oates were hysterical.
They're hysterical. I mean, they're just so in their wheelhouse. This kind of crowd.
Oh yeah. And when they were third from the line, they came on right before you, I guess, toward the end.
Yes,
right?
just after the intermission.
the crowd was primed.
The crowd was totally primed.
Watch their stuff on YouTube.
What's that?
Watch their stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, their stuff on YouTube is great, and I think
It's
we
really
streamed,
filthy, though.
It's very
really-
filthy,
yeah.
not
really
safe
filthy.
for
Yeah.
families or work.
Yeah, don't listen to it in the car with the kids in the
Don't
backseat.
sing out loud.
Headphones.
And my friend Aisha Tyler came. And
surprise.
She and I had talked about it a few weeks ago, and she had a ton of stuff to do, but she bolted from a dinner to come to Woodstock. We had her scheduled for 10:30, and I had specifically admired this piece she wrote about telling everyone to screw off. She was a real gamer, and she wasn't going to take shit from anyone online.
Because this is a real story. She wrote it not for Woodstock. She wrote
Yeah.
it for a real situation. For where people don't know, she hosted Ubisoft, a video game company's press conference.
Yeah.
And gamers are, they're the big intersection between them and YouTube commenters, and we're not.
Well, there have been notoriously bad people who've hosted E3 press conferences.
Oh yeah, well,
Like-
I mean,
like
they look at what's her name, Olivia.
Munn.
Yeah,
Well, but not even
No.
stepping aside from the girl gamer thing. Who was it? It was the
Jamie
Malibu's
Kennedy.
Most Wanted. Jamie Kennedy had a run at Activision or someone where he was just really super offensive, like talked down to the audience and was like,
Oh, right. I
yeah,
remember
like
hearing
it was
about
it was
this,
a big it was and the people who play games freaked out. They were like, no, this isn't real, and gave Activision the finger and said, no, don't do this anymore.
Exactly.
So I think they thought the same thing of Aisha Tyler, and it's not the case.
no,
She
no.
is a-
And
she is-
she dressed them down in this beautiful
Yes.
essay called "I'm a Gamer," and she read it, and it was
It was good. Well, and it kind of there was a theme for the night that I wasn't exactly expecting, but the Double Clicks debuted their video
Right.
Early on.
And that was a video where they got people to post some
right.
video clips.
Yeah.
Yes, and their video was specifically about guy nerds who think that girls who call themselves nerds have to answer a certain amount of questions before getting their
Right.
nerd cred.
There's no validation required. To
Which is so funny because there's that Portlandia sketch which totally falls into that. Have you seen? There's
You mean what have you read one?
No, the Portlandia sketch about fake girl nerds.
Oh.
Yeah, and then that was one side of it, and this is the other side of it.
Right. You're right. There was a lot of
Like it was very much a don't be a dick themed night.
right.
And I mean it's something that rings true. Like it says something sad about humanity if as soon as one oppressed group of people comes to power or rises and makes a large group that we suddenly start picking on everyone. I don't know how we got it. This is taking kind of a
Well, no, you're right. Actually, it ended up being the sort of unofficial theme of Woodstock on Thursday night,
Yeah.
and that was lovely. I ended up talking about internet misogyny, which
Yeah.
are almost synonymous, unfortunately.
Which is strange because Comic-Con is the friendliest place that can be. I mean, you don't need to tell the Comic-Con
To let your
crowd.
freak flag fly.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
everything's game except for furries, and even they're okay in their own area.
Do they have an area here?
No, they don't. They don't. Have not found.
That was a good try, though.
Been looking
That's
for 4
Dragon
years.
That's Dragon Con.
We'll see you guys in September.
Entire floor of one hotel.
Yes.
Wow.
So then we went to. You guys came to the Geek and Sundry party?
Yeah, we
Right.
went upstairs. We caught the tail end of Nathan Fillion as he was leaving, and
I ran into Nathan and Will downstairs.
He is the manliest man I've ever
He's
met.
super. It's hilarious how manly he is.
Yeah.
He's giant. His head's like the
He
size
should be in
of a-
Old Spice
He
commercials.
totally should. He should be starring in movies from 1940.
That is exactly right. I mean, he's got this gigantic barrel chest,
Yeah.
but he doesn't carry it like a dude with a gigantic barrel chest.
And I aspire to his level of photobombing. He is. one
Oh,
of
he's
the
a great really because you're a pretty good photo bomber too.
I like I said, I have aspirations to be a great photobomber, but you got to search Nathan Fillion in photobombing. You'll find on the set of Castle that anytime anyone's taking photos of the actor, he's in the background going like this, like making these great faces.
Who are the great photo bombers?
What's that?
Who are the great photo bombers?
Well, Will Wheaton is also really hard to beat. I tweeted yesterday. We had a photo of Patton Oswalt and Vince Gilligan that I photobombed.
I saw that
in the
That
green
was
room.
Brilliant, yeah, really good, really good.
That's also one of the things I love about coming here. So we did our panel on Friday night, and the green room before the panel is always just amazing people watching.
It was bananas in there. I mean, I was talking to people, but I kind of I was being super rude while I was talking, because I just turn around, head on a swivel.
To me, my son Thing 2 turns to me and he goes, "Dad, there's Patton Oswalt over there." And I went loudly, "That's not Patton Oswalt." Patton was reading and he looked up and he came over because I made him the Doc Ock thing.
yeah.
And, we talked for a bit, and then I introduced Patton to Vince Gilligan. They were both mutual fans, and Patton was like super excited about the next 8 episodes.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
talked for a while. I love all the mutual. Basically, no one at Comic-Con is immune from walking up to someone and going, "Remember that time when the character you wrote did that thing? That was awesome."
Everybody's a fan.
Yeah.
Everyone's,
Everybody's
there's a lot
a
of
fan.
assumptions that people already know each other. Like, oh, they're in
Right.
these kind of same circles. Of course, Patton should know, but no.
Right. No. The first year I met Patton a couple years ago, I walked over to him to say hello, and he saw me coming, and he was talking to Brian Posehn, and he turned to Brian just as I got in earshot and go, "If only someone in this room could test things in a way that was interesting, that they could come to some conclusions. That would be great."
Posehn did, oh, yeah. Oh.
The first year we were in the green room, my wife and I were there, and Sarah Silverman was there, and we were both like, "Oh!"
Oh,
So
yeah.
I walked up and I brought my wife, and I introduced myself, introduced my wife, and Tara said, "Are you here doing a panel?" I said, "Yeah, we're doing a panel in 20 minutes." She said, "Oh, me too." And I said, "Oh, we know, because my wife was debating whether or not to go to your panel or mine." And Sarah Silverman goes, "You have to be loyal to me."
Oh boy,
Our
that-
panel went
that's
really
trouble.
well. I think there was about 2,000.
It was full.
Yeah, it was a big room.
Yeah, it was a
people
big
in the
room and it was
Really,
full.
really big
It was
room.
great. It was a great response.
Jamie gets a big laugh at the panel. Like, and he delivers. He does it with one word.
He absolutely does. He has an impeccable instinct like that in crowds, where that kind of loving, energetic crowd. I love them because they get the science jokes, they get their really esoteric stuff. There's nothing that will go over their heads. Nothing gets crickets.
There's no Dennis Miller ratio at Comic-Con.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And that just makes it a pleasure to kind of cut loose. You can go towards material you haven't thought about before when you're talking about an answer.
It was really entertaining. My favorite was some kid walked up and asked it was a good question, but it was a very long question, and you guys looked at each other, and then Jamie just said no. That's the answer. The panel's up by now. If you're hearing this, the panel's on the site, so you can watch it. It was really good. Joey shot it, and had the long lens and the whole thing.
So what so far has been your guys' high points?
I rode an elevator with Stan Lee last night.
No!
Yeah.
Not many more opportunities to do that.
Oh no! No!
Don't say it like that.
Well, I'm saying, like, Comic-Con
He was going to come yell at you.
So where was it? Here
in the hotel.
Yeah.
And I was just, I didn't know what to say. I was just like, thank you so much. And was like, shook his hand, and then he got off on his floor, and I got off on mine. And
Because you could always remain in his memory if you just jabbed him in the neck or something and then ran like
I thought about just taking all my clothes off and running from the elevator when the door opens. I was like,
That's an idea for a superhero.
he will never forget that. I'm Ass Man. And then
remember
straight
my
out.
name.
Yeah.
Wow, an elevator with Stan Lee.
That was pretty high
pretty
point.
stunning.
That happens
Yeah.
a lot of double takes, right? If you're
Yes.
in the hotel lobby or walking through the convention floor, it's like, that person seems really familiar. I don't know if I should approach them because it could also be a porn star.
Yeah, that's always awkward.
Where do I know you from?
Do they come? Is there a lot of them here?
apparently.
It
Yes.
turns out a lot of like the cosplay, if you see somebody who's really attractive in kind of middle range cosplay, sometimes.
Well,
Interesting, really. I had no idea about this subculture.
Yeah.
And it took a couple years of going to Comic-Con, and one of my friends who works at a comic website said, that person does modeling and pornography, and there's a way to reach an audience as well.
Fascinating.
We found out when we started posting galleries of costumes. People were like, oh, I know her. If you'd like to see more.
Would you like to know more?
Yeah.
The best thing is taking a lot of photos of cosplayers and doing it in a very interesting way, because it's a test of yourself to see if you recognize the characters.
Right.
And it's a lot of double takes. And I saw someone who was the I forget her name, the bald lady from Star Trek 1.
Oh, right.
And she said, "You're
Wow,
from
that
Star
is
Trek
a-
1."
that
And
is
she goes,
a-
"No, no, you're young and you remember." And she said, "No one else has called that out." I'm like,
Wow.
"Wow, I felt really good about that."
She's a
I forget
Delton.
her name. Yeah.
Delphin?
Delta.
Delta.
Yeah.
There's a guy who occasionally I see on the replica prop forum. We talked about this last week, but it's worth mentioning. if you watch carefully the scene in which they're evacuating Bespin, the Cloud City, in Empire Strikes Back, there are people running all over the place. There's shots of people just running through corridors. And there's one guy running and he's carrying this thing. He's like black and he's carrying this thing that turns out to be, I think, like a Krupp's ice cream maker. And so there's a black kid who dresses in the same uniform and runs around Comic-Con. At least he has for a couple, holding on to this Krupp's ice cream maker.
Great.
It's one of my, like, I love that super esoteric stuff.
Well, the joke. I love the joke. Right. And it's like, sometimes it's a weird visual pun, and sometimes it's just like a completely unexpected mashup. And of course, I can't think of any of them now.
There's Iron Chef and Iron Man was also a chef.
That was good.
Oh, was
you
there?
say Iron Chef? Oh, duh. That's Iron Chef. I saw a Sharknado. This woman
Really?
with a tornado, her hair as a tornado, with sharks coming in and out of it. And yeah, it's mashups.
You know, it's what's. I love that even the costumes that are quote unquote terrible, there's no one's going to get crap for that.
No.
Right? It's super. There is no hierarchy on that. It's just like, you're doing it. Awesome.
Well, so, and even like, I heard somebody say something that was kind of judgy the other day, and somebody came and called him on it. Like, they said, oh, she shouldn't be wearing that, or he shouldn't be wearing that, or something like that. And somebody else who was in costume was like, look, you're standing here in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. You have no fucking idea what's going on.
Right.
This is it's scary to go out and do this, even at Comic-Con.
Scary, and it is, yeah.
And so, like, when you're out, when you put on your skin-tight leotard, you're welcome to come out and say whatever you want. But until then...
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and she let him have what is. It was good.
That's awesome. Have you seen any unbelievable costumes that you thought were amazing?
There was a War Machine that I've seen a couple. I've seen actually two War Machines. One was like a matte black one.
Yeah.
That was awesome in the Star Wars booth yesterday. And then there was a one that was like film red, white, and blue with the turret and everything. The Iron Man 3.
Oh wow. And it was all fiberglass, or did you think it was foam?
I think that one was Pepakura foam, if I had to guess. Maybe not the gun, but but
we had an Iron Man. I can't remember which mark it was that came to our signing line, and it was made out of foam, and he did it in just a couple weeks.
I think a lot more people are doing that now.
Well, the replica prop forum has been. That is actually on the main costume page. There are at least 4 or 5 people all the time making this stuff, because hot glue and standard camping foam, that closed cell foam, are such a perfect match that if you've got a steady hand, you get these Pepakura files and build an Iron Man costume in a week.
Yeah.
And they're gorgeous.
And it's lightweight.
It's super lightweight. You don't get armor bites, which is what Stormtroopers know about intimately, but was also a real problem with the Iron Man costume. I actually know from having talked to the guys at Legacy Effects who built all the practical Iron Man costumes that they finally solved making the Iron Man costume fully wearable without any armor bites.
Because a lot of that stuff, they couldn't have like the joints. It was all, they had the CG rings on there, the markers.
Yeah.
Because there's no movability.
I know, and I do know that they're also doing a lot of 3D printing there to make it really 3D scanning and printing so the stuff matches exactly to the actor. But it's a tough problem to solve. So the foam takes care of a lot of that.
I talked to those guys this morning actually, because they built the
Wired magazine robot.
Yeah. So I talked to Alan Scott and Matt
Winston?
Matt Winston.
Yes.
Yeah, and at length about how they made that. So and they're saving some of it for, obviously, Wired's channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
But we talked a lot about the theory. And the head on that guy was all 3D printed.
Yeah.
They just used a normal Stratasys 3D printer to do most of the framing and stuff on that.
And
but
they
most
got a
of
lot
that
of
was
vacuum
scrounged.
forming. What?
Most of that robot was scrounged. Like, they took the bits from other things that they'd already made.
That's how you do it in 24 days.
Totally how you do it. No, and I've done jobs like that. I told them when I was, we were all Mutual Admiration Society. They were big fans of the show, and I'm fans of their work forever. That my only regret was I didn't get a chance to work on it. And they said, staff was hundreds and hundreds of man hours, people staying after hours.
He said 2,000 in 24 days.
Butt on it. I mean, it's really clear. It's like the money's on the screen. The time is in the bot. It's a beautiful piece.
And the other stuff that they did that they didn't get to do they don't get to do in movie props is it's all like it has sound effects.
Right.
So they did all of the joints and this is something that anybody could do for their costume if they wanted. They put potentiometers on the joints So when they detect movement, it plays the appropriate sound file.
It's incredible when you're in front of it. It's going.
It's like Ed 209, man. It's terrifying.
Totally. And it sounds like Ed 209.
It sounds like Ed 209.
You have 2 minutes to reach minimum safe distance.
So apparently it's going to go on tour, and they've got a lot of appearances and stuff for it. But we have a video of that coming up next week on Geek Week. And then there's a ton of stuff at Wired about it as well. They're going to show, like, they apparently documented the whole building process. So if you go to the Legacy FX channel or
Stan Winston.
Stan Winston School's YouTube channel. They'll have documentary style stuff that shows how they.
We've tweeted a ton of crap from the Stan Winston School. I don't mean it's crap.
Stan Winston School. They've done this. I mean, when Stan passed, and they were figuring out the future of the company. It really is a great place to learn about prop making and also see how they built all the old stuff. They're releasing all that old footage.
Well, and that is, it's also, I think, a direct result of Stan's particular brilliance in that he was not just a phenomenal supervisor and marshaller of forces to achieve things that no one else had done before, but he also deeply understood how to manipulate the perception and get the word out about what they were doing and get people to really understand how magical it was and how amazing this crew was, because he understood that was part of his livelihood as well. Yeah. So they just have tons and tons of archival material that I just, every time one comes out, I'm like, yeah, and I watch the whole thing.
Puppeteering the alien's queen, how Bishop dies and everything, and the Velociraptors, like building the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That T-Rex video, I watched it twice.
Yeah.
What else? Any good sightings? Have you seen anyone that you super admired?
Oh, Norm has seen some costumes.
We ran into Noah Wiley.
Oh, really?
And the loading dock, and he came over and he goes, "I'm a big fan. I got to say, I'm really freaking out that you and Jamie are right here." I was like, "Dude, I've been watching you since season 1 of VR, man,
yeah.
like forever." And his kid took a picture with us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow,
Noah Wiley as a kid, that's terrifying.
I know. I did come across a costume that blew my mind in our signing line, and I have we'll find a picture of it to put on the site.
Okay.
The littlest Ghostbuster. Just this little girl in a full Ghostbuster coveralls with a proton pack. Super cute. I just fell in love with her. She's so adorable.
Oh, that's awesome.
I went to a prop store, so we have a video with prop store going up, and every year, like, they brought the ZF-1 out.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, and 2 years ago, I think it was.
Was it 2 years ago? Okay.
Every year they bring new props out.
What did they bring today?
This year, they had a bunch of stuff from Aliens. So they had the proximity tracker, the motion tracker from Aliens, the original one. It was really cool in that it was the hero model for close-up, so the screen worked.
Oh, nice.
And the screen was actually, what was it, like a small old kitchen TV?
It was what it was an under-counter TV that you hung up under, like a 3-inch screen that hangs up underneath your kitchen counter.
But the components, electronics, was much bigger than the prop.
Yeah, but it's the size of like 2 shoeboxes deep.
So it was wired, so the electronics would be off screen and only for close-ups. And so everything was working, and they got the original tape and footage.
The tube dangled out the back.
Wow! Oh my God, that's
it was super cool. We took a bunch of pictures of it.
Yeah. The flamethrower, Alien's flamethrower.
Yeah, the alien flamethrower.
Alien flamethrower.
Oh, the alien flamethrower.
Yeah, the Ripley one. I don't know if it was.
Did you get pictures of that?
I didn't take pictures of that one.
I'll be able to find it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They'll be out there.
On the RPF and the Flickr.
Ghostbusters 2 Ghost Trap.
Okay.
They had one of those. That was great at working electronics.
Not the one that opens, but the slider.
I will tease this now. We did a ZF-1 piece early last year.
Ago.
I am barreling down to the finish line with the ZF-1. We've got another build video to talk about where I've gotten, and then we'll do a final reveal.
That was your birthday present to yourself, right?
We've had a lot of time off this summer, more than we've gotten in a long time, and it has been a very, very nice summer of relaxation. That's been, and long overdue. We'll go back to Mythbusters feeling like we got a full reset, which is quite nice.
That's good.
When you walk the floor, what are the sections that you walk to?
You know, it's funny because there's very few things that are out there that I'm like, oh, I must have one of those, because I'm such an inveterate collector. It's more like information that I'm interested in. Like, oh, if Ironmonger is out there, I want pictures of Ironmonger. If when the ZF-1 was there, I made a special trip without a mask on, just to barrel there with my camera and take many pictures. And I got pictures of me holding the original ZF-1. Oh, so good.
That's awesome.
Those are the kind of things that I'm interested in, the kind of when film companies trot those props out for that. This is one of the few places you can go see them unless there's a traveling exhibit. Or like at the ArcLight in Los Angeles where they put props on display from movies that are currently running. It's hard to go find props that you want to replicate that are out and being displayed. So I like that stuff. I can't handle the crowd density down the center aisle, so I'll do a little bit of that and then I'll branch off and start zigzagging up and down. Every now and then you come across some really cool stuff. Like I'm always looking for a piece of Studio Ghibli stuff that I don't have because I love Hayao Miyazaki.
Right.
There's we saw a couple of different booths that were carrying it, but I had all the stuff they had, like a nice big.
Got to get you that poster, the Spirited Away. We are working on it.
Okay, cool.
I talked to the artist.
Excellent.
Yes.
I didn't make it over. I maybe try and do this first thing tomorrow morning. Stephen Daly, who painted the picture of Akbar wearing an admiral's uniform that was my inspiration for giving Akbar Admiral Nelson's uniform, was signing yesterday. I wasn't able to make it over to his booth at the time. He sent me an email and invited me because he really liked the costume, and I wanted to get over there. But I'm hoping to get over to his booth. I have ordered one of his prints.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. Put it in the case behind the Akbar costume.
Exactly.
I went over and saw Legendary had the armor from Pacific Rim.
Oh, they had the
it's not the
exosuits?
white one. It's not the exosuit. It's the black one from the. I guess the opening scene.
No, opening scene was white.
One.
The black one was the standard armor towards the end of the film.
Okay, so it's the black one, and that's in a case on the corner of the booth. So
I missed that. I was wearing a mask, so we went to the Legendary area, but it was hard to see.
Well, it was on the outside edge of the booth, so you probably wouldn't have, unless you happen to be walking in the insanely dense center corridor, you're gonna miss it.
I also I got to see those on set at Pacific Rim last year. They're beautiful, and that was all done. Also, the exosuits for Pacific Rim were also all done by Legacy Effects.
One of the things they told us this morning is that they had no idea when they were making those that they were going to be in the movie for like a third of the movie or 2/3 of the movie.
Oh, really?
Those characters, most of the time you see them, they're wearing those suits. Yeah, and they were like, we were really stoked.
And that stuff is gorgeous up close.
It is
just
really nice.
Stunning amounts of detail.
Yeah.
Really nice.
I really want one.
Lots of collectibles. I mean, stuff just put on your shelf, like Hot Toys.
Yeah.
You know, you got Tumblr. We both have the Tumblr. They're doing a Batman 1950s.
Oh, really?
Batmobile release.
Like an Adam West one?
Adam
or?
West Batmobile.
Wow. Did they?
1/6
You know,
scale.
I wish Hot Toys. Hey, Hot Toys. I really wish you guys would finish your Kane RoboCop 2 robot. I want one. I'll buy a prototype from you.
They have the license.
I
They
know.
have the RoboCop license.
I want it. They teased it 2 years ago. I'm waiting. I do love the preview stuff for Hot Toys, Sideshow. Those guys that produce the really high-end collectible, perfect stuff is just great.
We talked to QMX.
QMX, right.
QMX.
Those guys are. I know those guys.
Because
Yeah, Andy Gore.
I didn't know this, but Norm told me they did the models that were in the new Star Trek movie on the table. Like they built the
really?
ones for the movie when they had previously just been the dudes that make the toys or the models that you sell to fans.
That's awesome.
Which is like
it's like a snake eating its own tail.
Yeah.
Some Ouroboros shit right there.
That's great.
I guess that'll do it for us for Comic Con.
I think we can keep it going for another hour.
Makes us want to walk it more
I mean,
before it's over.
So,
All right, we got a couple more hours of daylight yet. Let's hit the floor.
We will be back next week with another episode of Still Untitled, I hope.
And there will be just reams and volumes of Comic-Con related posts
We have
for weeks.
Yeah, we have. So the bad news is some of the stuff we have to hold for Geek Week next week.
Yep.
But we'll have the Admiral Akbar Adam Incognito video. We have the Adam. We didn't even talk about the Flash Mob.
No,
I
we
don't even know
didn't
how
talk
we
about
did
Flash
that.
Mob.
The Flash Mob video. We have the robot interview with the Stan Winston School folks and the Legacy FX. We have Norm's cosplay gallery will be up by the time you see this. It's just a ton of content. We got a ton of good stuff. We shot like 6 or 7 videos. We have a couple more that we shot on the way down. We saw some really amazing stuff on the way down. And I'm not talking about the Harris Ranch. So yeah, it's a good time, and it'll all be up by the end of next week. So.
All Comic-Con, all month.
Exactly. See you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.